Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Welcome to English grade 9 video lecture series. Students, today we are going to study and learn a student's learning outcome that talks about reading comprehension. ये हमारा reading comprehension का SLO है. It means हमने कुछ पढ़ना है, any text, and then as usual we have some questions to answer at the end. We have to respond to the text, but there are some questions that require you to provide evidence from the text. ऐसे questions होते हैं and they are usually questions with the highest marks. So we need to get the full marks and we need to solve the questions completely. Is that right? Yes. So the learning outcome is based upon the reading and critical thinking competency. We have one SLO today. It asks us to cite strong and thorough textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says explicitly as well as inferences drawn from the text. Now, cite is a verb. And what are we citing? Textual evidence. Cite करना इसका मतलब है रेफरेंस देना, एविडेंस देना, कोई सबूत देना अपने आंसर को जस्टिफाई करने के लिए. जब भी आप ऐसे किसी क्वेश्चन को टैकल करेंगे, then you will provide evidence, textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says. Now something, most of the time things are evident. चीजें वाज़ेह होती हैं टेक्स्ट में, पढ़कर फौरन आप क्वेश्चन के आंसर तक पहुंच जाते हैं इजीली. बट देयर आर सम थिंग्स जो कि हिडन होती हैं. हमें टेक्स्ट को बार बार पढ़ना पड़ता है, मोर देन वन टाइम, मे बी 3 times, and then with critical understanding and thinking we can reach to the meaning. Now this time when we are having such questions, they require you to provide evidence. So it means first of all we need to understand the question very well. अगर question की statement lengthy है तो हम क्या करेंगे? We will break it down into different parts, restate it, understand it, and then answer the question. So reading comprehension से ये related है, and reading comprehension में exam में भी you know there is a passage given and then you have to read it and give answers. Some passages are easy, the meaning is very evident and clear, but some passages are having deep hidden implicit meaning. तो दोनों को टैकल करने के लिए हम क्या करेंगे? टेक्सचुअल एविडेंस को इस्तेमाल करेंगे from the text itself, and then we will provide our answer to make it justified and strong. So this is our learning outcome. Now students, what is evidence? And why do we use it in our answer? Is it necessary? If the question says so, then you must provide evidence because that is part of the question. Evidence क्या है? सबूत. क्या आप ये जो बात कर रहे हैं, the answer must have some background, some solid background and evidence from the text itself. You can quote that. आप उसको डायरेक्ट कोट कर सकते हैं. अगर किसी का कोटेशन है आप उसको आंसर में लिखेंगे. इफ देयर इज अ फिगर, स्टैटिस्टिक, कोई फैक्ट मेंशन है और वो आपको मेंशन करना पड़ेगा अपने आंसर में. नाउ सम आर एक्सप्लिसिट, सरफेस लेवल पे आप पढ़ते ही फौरन उसको अंडरलाइन कर लेते हैं एंड देन यू प्रोवाइड इट इन योर एविडेंस. बट सम आर डीप, तो उसको भी आप इनकॉर्पोरेट करेंगे अपने आंसर में एंड देन यू विल write your answer. So evidence is important. It is the references that are available in the text. When we are reading anything, we must underline, we must circle, we must intonate the text, the important things. Why? Because we need to add it in our answer. Answer में आप अपने words भी use करेंगे. You will use your own words, but you will also use the paraphrased version from the text or provide some evidence. So this is why evidence citing is very important. और cite करने से क्या मुराद है? एविडेंस को देखा, वहां से उसको कॉपी कर दिया, रेफर कर दिया, refer to the text. So it means that your answer is cited in the text. All right. Citing evidence means providing examples from a text to support your claims. If you are making a claim in your answer, if you are answering it, then you must make it strong. Clear hai? Yes, students. Students on the Zoom class, do you understand the point? And what do we mean by reading comprehension? Understanding what we are reading, because without understanding it is useless to just read the text and start writing answer. That's not how we do it. We must understand each and everything that we are reading. All right. Let's understand the word cite. This is a verb to mention something as a reason or an example. If you want to give a reason, you can give it from the text, or in order to support what you are saying. Support के लिए, to make the answer stronger, we cite from the text. And here the word cited is used in a sentence. She cited examples of companies the city has helped relocate or expand. So this is what we mean by citing evidence. Now students, why is it important? As a good reader? Good readers, what do? They are able to cite evidence by including quotations or exact sentences from the text or paraphrasing the author's words or ideas. So we can do it three ways. We can share the quote from the text in support of our answer. We can use sentences, and we can use paraphrased versions of the text, of the sentence or the quotation from the author's words or ideas. And we can take up from the text and provide it in our answer. Very simple. So this is what we mean by citing. Now students, how do we cite evidence? How do we tackle out the questions that require such answers? There is a strategy. इस strategy को हम क्या कहते हैं? Race. This is a mnemonic to memorize this process. R stands for restate the question. Question को दोबारा पढ़ेंगे. जब तक समझ नहीं आता आंसर लिखना स्टार्ट नहीं करना. Restate the question in your own words, break it down, and then understand that what the question is demanding. Then answer the question. And in the answer, you have to cite evidence. And E stands for explain how the evidence supports your answer. Clear hai? So this is what we mean by this strategy, race. इसको याद रखना है आपने. Whenever you have such questions, you will apply it. R stands for restating the question, A for answering the question, C is for citing evidence, and E is for explaining that how is it justified. जो आपने reference दिया है text से, is it justified? Can you give some explanation how it is working with your answer? And this is how we answered such questions. So I hope this is clear. Now students, when we have some questions, now say we have this question, do you think the children regretted the actions at the end? What shows your inference is true? So this is what is showing that your inference is true. पहले हम infer करेंगे, and then we will show that why it is true, why we are justified. So the first part of the question is, do you think the children regretted their action? The second part is, give two pieces of evidence from the passage that support your answers. तो इस तरह के जो questions होते हैं, जो evidence या citing के keywords के साथ आपके पास आते हैं, then what do you have to do? Do you have to give the evidence or not? Yes, of course. Answering it simply is not the complete work. आधा काम है, because if you take up this this question, clearly you can see that we can divide the question in two parts. One is asking to infer, and the other part is asking you कि आपने infer कैसे किया? What is the logic? What is the reason? What is the evidence for your answer? So we have to justify our answer. Now students, here is a poem by Robert Frost. This is a 3-stanza poem, and we have 3 questions over here. What season is it in the poem and how do you know this? अब ये how do you know this इसको आंसर कैसे करेंगे? रेफरेंस देंगे पोम से. What jokes does the speaker in the poem tell his companion? And how do you know that it is a joke? It will be taken from the text. And how do the two men in the poem feel about the present season and weather, and how do you know that? So first, of course, we are going to read the passage. We are going to read this poem more than one time in order to answer this question. So if you read this poem, he halted in the wind, and what was that far in the maples pale but not a ghost? He stood there bringing March against his thought, and yet too ready to believe the most. Oh, that's the paradise in bloom, I said, and truly it was fair enough for flowers, had we but in us to assume in March, so such white luxuriance of May of ours, for ours, we stood a moment so in a strange world, myself as one his own pretense deceives, and then I said the truth, and we moved on, a young beech clinging to its last year's leaves. So what is the season? Wind, the maples, the maple tree, the leaves are pale. किस मौसम में होता है? In the season of autumn. Yes. तो ये हमारा क्या है? This part is telling us about the season. तो इसको आप कोट कर सकते हैं अपने आंसर में, because you can say that in the first stanza the poet talks about that he stopped in the wind and what was that far in the maple. So you can see that the season, the hint is given. इसी hint को आप जब अपने आंसर में लिखेंगे, that will answer the question. What joke does the speaker in the poem tell his companion? That's the paradise in bloom, I said, and truly it was fair enough for the flowers. You can find it, the answer over here in the second stanza. And how do the two men? Notice this is not including one person, but the poet and his friend. And how do the two men in the poem feel about the present season? What do they feel? They feel they are in a strange world, and so on. So इसका आंसर आपको third stanza में मिलेगा. So you can mention the keywords, the quotes. आप वर्ड्स को भी मेंशन कर सकते हैं अपने आंसर को जस्टिफाई करने के लिए, and this will answer not only the first part but also most importantly the second part, जो कहता है कि how do you know? We know from the text, we know from the poem, but किस पार्ट में, किस वर्स में इसका आंसर है, you have to mention it. So it means that this is how you are citing evidence from the text of this poem. Now there's a very interesting writer called George Orwell, and he has a novel called Animal Farm. Animal Farm, here I have mentioned a quote, and the quote is, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Very interesting and thoughtful, right? So this is a quotation, या कोई passage भी हो सकता है. Now let's look at the question. Based on this quote or this passage from George Orwell's Animal Farm, what can you infer about the political system? Now students, this is a personified elements that are found in the novel Animal Farm. It's a short novel, it's a novelette, और इसमें animals को use करके political system पे commentary की गई है. And in the political system, it is said all animals are equal. सब लोग, जैसे हम कहते हैं कि सब लोग equal हैं, but कुछ लोग ज़्यादा equal हैं. एक बड़ी funny बात है. This is very unfair. This is showing us a very, imbalance, right? This is showing us imbalance. So in the same way, we know that people who are elites, they are powerful, they think everybody is equal. But they also think that some people are more equal than others. Equal to equal होता है, equal ज़्यादा कम तो नहीं हो सकता. And this is what we are observing in our world. We can see that this is true. People believe this. So it means that powerfuls The powerful people, the personnels, they are powerful, though they believe in equality, but their equality is also unfair, right? तो इस क्वेश्चन को हम इसी के अंदर से आंसर कर सकते हैं. यू कैन प्रेजेंट देयर दिस कोट इन द पैसेज. अगर इस तरह का कोई कोट आता है, क्या करेंगे? You can give the evidence from this passage and then present your answer and your explanation. Race. So, what can you infer about the political system? Now, when we are talking about inferring, obviously we have to give our evidence. We have to cite some evidence. तो इस तरह के जितने भी passages होंगे या couple of quotations या passages के अंदर quotations आप पढ़ेंगे, you can take it as an evidence, paraphrase it, and then present your answer. So this justifies our students' learning outcome as well, and also the question. किस तरह के questions होते हैं? There are some sample questions that I've put before you. Students, we have some sample questions like, what is the likely outcome of the conflict in the story? Explain your reasoning and cite evidence. किस तरह का question है ये? We have to read the passage and then present reasoning and evidence from the text. Another question इस तरह का भी आ सकता है, what is the author's message or warning in the story? Support your interpretation with evidence from the text. इस question को भी हम क्या करेंगे? Break down करेंगे and provide interpretation and answers. What is the main character's greatest fear? Cite a specific quote from the text. अब हमने कोट लेना है जो कि उस बात को वाज़े करता है, what is the greatest fear of the character, and then we will support our answer with that quotation. वो कोई जुमला हो सकता है, वो कोई quotation हो सकती है किसी की, या वो ऑथर के अपने अल्फाज या राइटर के अपने वर्ड्स या फ्रेजेस हो सकते हैं. उनको हम लेंगे as an evidence and we will provide it in the answer of the question. तो क्या करना है? When there are simple open-ended questions, जिनके अंदर एक से ज्यादा लफ्ज का आंसर करेंगे. Close-ended questions कौन से होते हैं? Yes or no. Do you like ice cream? No. Yes. इसका यही जवाब है. Why do you like ice cream? Now this is a open-ended question. But if I say, give me some reasons, justify it, then you have to justify it, give reasons, provide reasoning, and this is how the question becomes critical. Critical thinking questions हैं ये सारे sample questions जो हैं, they are targeting your critical thinking. It means इनका आंसर आपको at once नहीं मिलेगा. At the surface level, explicitly, you cannot find the answer until you think about the answer, until you read the passage clearly. Now students, we have reached at the end of the lesson. Since we are just dealing with one SLO, simulation link में you have a YouTube link, and here you have a website where you can find so many comprehension passages by followed by some questions. क्या करेंगे? Text को पढ़ेंगे, questions को answer करेंगे, and you can find so many different passages, unlimited, and then you can take any of them from the website. It's free, it's easy to use, and then you can do it. For the worksheet, you will solve this worksheet over here. This is a text, and read the text, and then in the next page answer the questions. किस तरह के questions होंगे? Evidence based. So this is about world's largest seal, and they are also called elephant seals because of the size. All right. So the worksheet is given, and you have some other resources as well as this presentation, and this sums up the lesson. I hope that you have understood it. So be good readers. If you have any kind of such reading passage, read it over and again and answer that evidence-based question and provide justification and also cite your evidence. So students, at the end, I would like you to unmute yourself and present your comments, ask your question about the SLO. Are we clear about the SLO or not? All right. What about online students? Do you have any kind of question? अब आपने वर्कशीट को सॉल्व करना है, पैसेजेस को लें and then answer the question. All right? And present your evidence, present and cite your evidence and follow a logical explanation as well at the end. I hope that you have also followed the previous lecture जिसमें हमने effect, cause and effect की बात की थी और problem solution that you can identify, and this sums up all the reading learning outcomes. So we will come up with another learning outcome in the next lecture. Till then, practice today's lecture, solve the worksheets and resources. Take care of yourselves, students, and Allah Hafiz.